Hi, and welcome to the second podcast of Bonsai Stuff. It's Scott Martin from Bonsai Matsu. Firstly, let me start by saying thank you very much. I've had lots of emails and messages and notes of support, which is really good. I wasn't sure how it was going to be received initially, but you sort of spurred me on to continue on with it, and for that, thank you very much. I wanted to focus this podcast on some real fundamentals of what I suppose goes to the core of what I like in bonsai. So it's not a design related thing, because I think that's very personal for each of us, but the core of when I work on a tree or work on any custom trees or anything like that, my focus is good structure, is good bonsai. And anyone that's done anything with me, workshops or whatever, they'll know that I repeat that quite regularly, because I think that's the core of a good bonsai. There's lots of quick styling that can be done, lots of bending of branches or positioning of the ramification of the tree structure to make it look nice for a photo. But is that long-term going to be desirable and make it a tree that you really cherish in your collection, or one that you'd go back to and look at at a show? I don't, for me, no. So it's very different for different people, but, focusing on maybe one step backwards to take two steps forwards when you're working your trees or you're styling them, or doing anything with them is something really important to have in the back of your mind, that it's not about achieving the goal now immediately. It's where it's going to get to in the future. It's what you're going to make the tree long term. Bonsai is not about 5 minutes. It's about a journey. It's about a path. And I was actually listening to a song running the other morning, and it came saying it's less about the outcome and more about the path. And I think that really resonated when I was thinking about this podcast now to get my idea across, because all trees are on a path. We all know that they're never truly finished, and they go on forever, and they hopefully pass from hand to hand to hand, and you've got it for a really short stint in that tree's life. And I think it's really important that to put your fingerprint on something, or to take it to another level, or to the next phase of its advancement. It's really important to focus on good structure is good bonsai, and making the tough decision to remove a branch, or to look at grafting a branch into place, or to do something to take the tree to be better is a far more diligent approach than simply going, well, if I bend that branch from that side of the tree around to that side of the tree, then from the front you won't notice the big octopus arm that's coming around the back to fill that space that makes it look nice. Now, like I said, there's a lot of people around the world that do focus like that, and I'm sure that when you're on the stage doing a demonstration for someone, and people want results, then your focus might be different. But when you're working on your trees, it's not about necessarily showing them to the world all the time. It's about your enjoyment of a tree, and shortcuts and not doing things the right way can have an impact on your enjoyment of that tree. Maybe you'll look at it for years and years thinking, really, I probably shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that. I find myself personally, it's far easier to make the tough decisions early on, work out a plan going forward for what you'd like to do with that tree, and then taking it step by step. And step by step might not be today, tomorrow. It might be this year, next year, the year after. So and I personally think that's part of the enjoyment of doing bonsai is knowing that the tree that you're working on now, that next time it comes across your workbench, there's something pretty exciting that's going to happen with that tree. It's either going to have developed, or it's going to be ready for the next phase of its development. It's ready for a thread grafter. It's ready for whatever it is that you want to do. It's ready for a styling. Try not to push things too fast with your trees to get to an end point too quickly, because it'll be to the detriment of the tree, and you'll make compromises in your approach to how you manage that tree going forward. So right now in Australia, we're just ticking into autumn, a few days into the start of the season, and seems to be, regardless of the weather we've had, which has been quite warm, and it's flicked a switch and it's gone quite cold. It looks as though the trees on cue have started to change colour and start to take on their autumn appearance, which happened pretty quickly, almost overnight for a few of the trees to start. This is when I talk about the long-term goals with your trees, autumn's one of those times that it is particularly important to focus on the goals. And one of the priorities for me through autumn is feeding my trees. My neighbours don't like it because it stinks to high heaven, but the results you see from feeding heavily or well or appropriately during the autumn period pays dividends. You get through the dormancy period, and then spring comes around, and the results of your hard work and filling tea bags with fertiliser, stinking out the place for a couple of weeks while it settles in, starts to pay off. The growth that you're getting in spring is because of the stuff you've done sort of 6 months earlier. So it's really important that whenever you work on your trees, it's not about doing the monumental thing. It's not about putting it into a new pot of some kind. It's not about a major branch bend. It's not about a complete restyling and reshaping of the tree. It's about the fundamentals. It's about doing the good stuff consistently throughout the years. Time and time again, and that's where you build the strength of the tree, and that's where you build the solid foundation on which you can keep taking steps forward. I like the fact that I've got a wide variety of trees, and they've all got different requirements, and they're all at different stages of development. But fundamentally, they're being cared for in a pretty similar fashion, whether they're a tree that's in the collection for its first autumn, or whether it's a tree that's been in my collection for 10, 15 years. They're still getting managed and fertilised at this time of the year, with the focus for me on what's going to happen 6 months down the track, and then focusing on, we've just come out of a long, hot, dry summer, and my fertilising now in autumn gives me peace of mind that the tree will be in a better position for summer the following year. So bonsai, like I said before, it's not about now, it's not about immediate results. It's about thinking longer term and doing things that maybe aren't Instagram worthy or can't go onto Facebook, but certainly will allow you somewhere down the track to have a much better tree in your collection. One other thing I do at the moment with my trees when I'm walking around, I'm putting fertiliser on and staking in the tea bags, is to start considering which trees will need to be repotted, because repotting season is literally just around the corner, and it will sneak up on you pretty fast. Especially considering that Japanese black pine work starts in the very near future, so time is going to be consumed quite heavily with that. So I find now is a good time for me to look at the trees and go, have you got much room left in that pot? Are you looking like you're needing to be repotted? If I'm going to repot you, then put some kind of a flag in the pot so that I can come back to it later on and go, yep, okay, that's another tree that needs to be repotted. Make sure you've got your mix you're going to use lined up and available. Don't leave it too late to source that, because you may get caught short. And one of the worst things you can do is not repot a tree that needs to be repotted. Trying to skimp through for another year, your tree will get through, but will you continue the advancement of it? I wouldn't think so. And do you run the risk of something potentially going wrong with it down the track? Yeah, you certainly do. You'll end up weakening a tree that it's not necessarily in the best position. So, start to think about which trees need to be repotted. Are they going to go back into the same pot? Do you need to source new pots? Where are you going to get those pots from? What size? All that sort of stuff. So, you've still got some time up your sleeve, obviously, but I find now is a good time that I start thinking about that sort of thing and making a to-do list of things that I need to get ready, so when repotting does start, I'm ready to go. So there's episode 2 done and dusted. It's, like I said, just as a refresher, Melbourne based in Australia. So everything I've talked about is based around what I do here in my collection. It's just at the very start of autumn, so everything's relative to that. I just wanted to say that it's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it. I think this is something which will be ongoing and will be structured and have a good future, I think. So thank you for listening. Good luck with your bonsai. As I say again, if you want to get in touch via the website bonsaimatsu.com, via Facebook or Instagram, send me messages, emails, text, whatever. More than happy to have a chat and offer an opinion. And all the best and good bonsai until next time.